It tastes a little bit familiar.
You remember this one. It's coming back to you. Hey, what's going on, everybody? For First We Feast, I'm Sean Evans, and you're watching Hot Ones. It's the show with hot questions and even hotter wings. And today we close out season 14 with Steve-O, the sequel. He's a comedian, author, and Hot Ones legend. His latest special, Gnarly, is currently available on steve-o.com. And while you're there, check out his memoir, Professional Idiot, his skateboard decks, and his fate would have it he has a hot sauce. Steve-O's hot sauce for your butthole. That's right, Steve-O's hot sauce for your butthole at steve-o.com. Steve-O, welcome back to Hot Ones.
Dude, thank you so much for having me. I think it would land about here, though. It's not that hot. Of course, we've got Steve-O's Butthole Destroyer on the way. It's gonna be a lot hotter. But hey. You know, I am intimidated for two reasons. Number one, to try to outdo what we did last time. I mean, that's a tall order.
Classic episode.
Number two, last time the wings were pre-prepared. This time, they're not. They're just waiting to have sauce poured directly on them, which means I believe I'm gonna be ingesting a lot more sauce this time. Classic. Let's do it.
So even by the standards of Jackass, your stunt work is the stuff of legend, and you've been involved in some of the gnarliest falls ever captured on camera. I once saw a video of you jumping off of a 3-story apartment complex into a 5-foot pool. What's the key to diving into shallow water like that?
First, thank you. There is a very crucial secret to this. When you hit the water, you've got to curve in. Because if you go straight in, as a 6-foot man into a 5-foot pool, you're gonna have a problem with the bottom of the pool. But by hitting the water and laying back and curving in, you find yourself sliding on the bottom of the pool, much like a baseball player might slide into a base, which he is stealing.
What's a harsh lesson about working with explosives that you had to learn the hard way?
Oh, well, I don't know if we can pull back that fourth curtain and reveal that I'm here in my own living room. But it was here in my own living room where I played with explosives for the big climactic ending scene of my multimedia comedy special, Gnarly. The plan was to blow up the living room in spectacular fashion and really kind of push the boundaries of what made sense. And each explosion, as ridiculous as it was, I found left me completely unscathed. And as I kept going further and further, I thought, well, it's not over until something happens. You know, I gotta get kinda hurt. So I laid down on the floor in a bed of rocket engine fuel. And that ended up just being more than I anticipated. And just a few short days later, I was getting skin grafts on 15% of my body. Suffice it to say, that was perhaps the most epic closer to a comedy special that the world has ever seen.
Do you have a favorite professional sports stunt? Because I've seen you getting pelted by pucks at an NHL game, and then you did that thing with the Arizona Diamondbacks where you're in front of a high-speed pitching machine, just wearing balls Happy Gilmore style.
Well, again, thank you. I'm truly flattered. The hockey puck, when I was in the hockey arena, was really pretty mellow compared to the time that I was trying to have Chuck Liddell, the UFC Hall of Famer, give me cauliflower ear with an array of different sports themed stunts. We rested a golf ball on my ear and he whacked my ear with a golf club. It's almost shocking that my ear didn't come off. We all thought it had. He also whacked a hockey puck point blank right into my ear. But yeah, in that one day, I would say I did all of my favorite sports-themed stunts. It was really something else. Now, I don't want to overpromise and underdeliver by pouring a great deal of hot sauce on these ones and not so much on the end, so I want to be pretty uniform. Does that look
That looks great.
Oh my God, I already know that this is gonna be a way harder experience than the last time. A concern that I had the last time was my esophageal condition known as Barrett's esophagus, which is scary because it's often a precursor for esophageal cancer. And I've been like a little bit sort of careful about like just gratuitous damage to my esophagus. But my last endoscopy, the gastroenterologist told me I look good. I'm stable. I'm ready for hot ones.
Just in time. Just in time. So you've said in the past that skateboarders have a special relationship with the video camera, and even those VHS tapes that they used to sell at skate shops back in the day were basically like viral videos before viral videos even existed. What do you mean when you say that you found religion through the video camera?
Oh man, I think that as humans, without exception, we struggle with mortality. I even go so far as to say that I think our human existence is a prank on us because we only have one instinct, which is to survive, and we only have one guarantee, which is we won't. That's probably the main reason why they have children, because they want part of them to live on, to have a legacy. And other people turn to religion to say that even though you're gonna die, you're gonna go to heaven where everything's gonna be great. And neither of those two really worked for me. So I fall into the third category I identify with, which is those who leave stuff behind to be remembered by. And, I point to cavemen who would draw stick figures on the wall in the cave, evidently because they knew those stick figures would outlive them. And this is how I found religion in a video camera, because every video that I made, I knew had the potential to entertain people, to inspire people after I was physically gone. So I felt very much that the video camera allowed me to defeat mortality. It allowed me to live forever. It's my heaven, it's my religion. If I keep it up like that, then I'm in real trouble.
I know. I don't want to go one step forward, two steps back with the esophagus, Steve-O, all right?
It's like head trauma and nut kicks. I save them for special occasions.
I'm flattered and I'm honored. Last time we talked about how you ripped up Fame from MOP's studio after you lost your Rolex. But the part of your hip hop era that I'm most interested in is you rolling with 50 Cent's crew G-Unit there for a while. Between Young Buck, 50 Cent, and Tony Ayo, who gave you like the most welcoming embrace into that crew?
I would say Young Buck. I'd also say 50 Cent himself. As we showed up walking from the tour bus into the hotel, somebody started to tap me and said, "Hey, come over here." And they directed me into this little RV, and there's 50 Cent sitting on the sofa, and he's all excited, yeah, he's so cool. And I asked him to throw me down the stairs in the bellhop cart. In that situation, you gotta wonder who stands to lose more, right? I mean, there's me, I could have been paralyzed very easily, but there's 50 Cent. He was on top of the world, untold millions. So yeah, 50 was really cool, especially when I said, "Hey, can I get you to leave my voicemail greeting?" I kept that voicemail greeting for years, and thank God I've got that footage for you.
Hey, what's up, motherfucker? This is 50 Cent, Steve-O, busy right now. You understand what I'm saying to you? So what you can do is you can leave a message so you can call back. Matter of fact, you don't even want to talk to you, bitch. But you know what? Leave a message anyway.
Yeah, actually, fuck off. Blah. Okay, we're on to this one. Now it's called Helper. Dude, how psyched were you on that Saturday Night Live skit?
Dude, my phone just started going nuts. People just text me like crazy. I turned on the TV, and the thing that I was so fascinated by is, sometimes I wonder how SNL would parody me. What would they do? And I think for me, you could be like, oh, maybe you do the big exaggerated hand gestures or something. But what Mikey Day did is I do this thing where I play piano on the table, and he was doing that. So it was cool to see the little things that they pick up on from you, and then how that plays out. So I'll remember that forever. That was awesome. just a validation in the fabric of pop culture sort of thing.
Okay, and that, but speaking of the numbers, I'm dying to know, with the pandemic and having to shoot so many of these episodes remotely, has that negatively impacted the performance?
Yeah, I think like it's not, I think there's a couple things at play. Like one, everybody's like timelines pushed back, so it's not like people are like on a press tour necessarily. It's not like they come to New York and they're doing Hot Ones in the afternoon, and then they're doing Fallon across the street, and then they're like doing this, that, the other thing. So because like in Hollywood, everybody's thing is messed up, like our system is totally messed up too, along with it. But to our fans' credit, they've been showing up, so to the fans.
Hell yeah.
To the fans.
Right. If this episode doesn't perform quite as well as my first one, I'm blaming it on the pandemic. Okay, Los Calientes. Now you're not using this wall of hot sauce to disguise how much is going on your wings, is there?
No, like look you can see. Woof. I am but a humble chicken wing host, but I am an honorable one.
I love that, man. I love that, dude. And as, part of the course, I'm sticking on a really scary path.
All right, Steve-O, as you may recall, we have a recurring segment on our show called Explain That Gram, where we do a deep dive on our guest's Instagram, pull interesting pictures that need more context. So I'll show you the picture. You just tell us the bigger story.
Yeah.
So here you are on Monday Night Raw. It looks like you're begging for your life. And as I understand it, this is not acting.
Not acting at all. Oh, man. That was definitely the worst beating I ever took. And prior to shooting Jackass 4, I would argue perhaps the worst concussion I ever had.
Damn.
But there we were promoting Jackass number 2 in the ring on Monday Night Raw. The big final move was Umaga, the Samoan bulldozer, climbing on the top rope, diving off, and just body slamming me as I lay on the ground there. The thing is that in the WWE, the match isn't over as long as you're still reacting. You kind of have to play dead. And I did not play dead. I was rolling around, like reacting, like, oh, and so Umaga felt disrespected. That, no, it's not over because you're still moving around. He kept going and going because I kept moving around. I didn't know. And he dropped this elbow. It was the last thing I remember, really. And they cut to commercial because it got so dark. They never showed me leaving the ring. I remember coming to in like a control room where my Jackass comrade, Chris Pontius, who I was with, describes that Vince McMahon was just jazzed. There was great, like, yeah. and that was some serious head trauma, man. I was beaten into a blackout. So far, I'm hanging tough. Woof.
At the end of Gnarly, you thank the fuck-faced dickheads who didn't think it belonged on their platform. Do you ever feel misunderstood by the network fat cats or the streaming services gatekeepers in comedy?
I love that question and thank you for it. As I put together this hour of comedy, which would ultimately become my Gnarly special, I had one night while I was performing, my head exploded. I thought, oh my God, I'm telling these stories in my stand-up routine, which for the most part all transpired on camera. So what if I put together a comedy special where you're watching me perform the act? However, much like Hot Ones, footage is interstitially edited in to illustrate the stories being told. I thought, wow, this is completely original. There's never been a multimedia comedy special like that. I just believed in it so much. I funded the whole thing. I brought it to Netflix, HBO, Showtime. And those places took the position that they didn't want to be in the business of Steve-O stand-up comedy. Somehow seeing me as the Jackass guy and not taking me seriously as a crossover into stand-up comedy. They just didn't want to mess with it, despite it being really something special. I was heartbroken by that, but I didn't let it stop me. Figured out a way to put it out on my own website, and I've actually done very well with it. I've proven what it was worth, and that the next time around when I do my bucket list special, Oh, they're gonna fucking have to pay me, man. Or I'll just do the same thing again. Alright, I can't start fucking bitching out now. I'll never forget last time. Fighting through it because I really didn't want to waste any of the time I had to convey. You know, like, really respecting the platform and the audience. I really wanted to communicate through everything.
Which world record means more to you? Having the highest porta potty launch ever recorded or breaking the most light bulbs with your nuts?
There are kids all over the world for decades breaking these light bulbs, but I don't think anybody has been launched in a porta potty with bungee cords attached to cranes to begin with, let alone as high as I was. So I'm going with the porta potty.
And you know, some fans want autographs, other fans, they want selfies, but your fans, they want you to kick them in the nuts. What's the most creative way a fan has ever asked you to kick them in the nuts?
It happened recently. I believe on Halloween of 2019, this kid asked me really passionately, and I said, you know what? I don't do that anymore. But if you can come up with an idea that is just so creative that I have to do it, then we'll see. And I'd told this to a few people before, but this kid came back and he said, I've got it. We're both in a handstand. It's the upside down nut kick. A tomahawk chop with your foot while you're both in a handstand. And I saw it. I said, absolutely, let's do it. It's the only nut kick I've done in a long time, and just like concussions and nut kicks, that one counted.
Whoa.
Can't be a bitch now, right? Is that decent?
That's very decent. It's beyond decent. Trust me, that's plenty. That's plenty.
Okay, good. It tastes a little bit familiar.
You remember this one. It's coming back to you. So I understand that you have dreams of creating an animal sanctuary where you can one day live out the rest of your years surrounded by a Noah's Ark of creatures. Have you thought out what exactly that would look like, Steve-O's wide world of animals?
Yeah, thank you for asking this one. My girl and I, Lux, and this is an engagement ring that I wear. Lux and I decided, instead of having kids, we would like to pour ourselves into helping animals. We want to open up an animal sanctuary where we're gonna live out our years. But I also think less about having it be a destination and more of a place that's sort of a self-sustaining farm where we grow our own food, and it's a little bit of a retreat that we don't even want to draw attention to, and have, yes, tons of animals. Eye of the Scorpion. How do you like that for my next version of my hot sauce, the super hot one, Steve-O's Butthole Destroyer?
I think, you know what? When I saw Steve-O's hot sauce for your butthole, I said to myself, he nailed it. This guy gets it. He's figured it out.
But now I'm ready. Whoa, I think I might have.
Be careful.
How's that look?
A sight to behold.
Wow, this one feels pretty hot.
Yep. Be careful. That's a lot.
I respect the platform, Sean.
Salute, Steve-O. Hot sauce, Lieutenant. You've been a staple at UFC events for years. Do you have an all-time favorite fight that you've ever watched ringside?
Oh yeah, Robert Whittaker against Yoel Romero. I believe it was a rematch too. This happened in Chicago in June of 2018. It was my first time actually getting tickets from Dana White. And we got the tickets and it said row 1. We were like, yeah, right by the octagon. Now what's interesting is that the reason I was in Chicago was to go to a spiritual conference to hear Neil Donald Walsh, who is known for the Conversations with God series. I was I said, yeah, I really love your books. I had to ask him a couple questions about God and spirituality. And I said, what's weird? We're going from here to a UFC event to watch the most violent form of physical combat that's legal. And, is that okay? He said that he wouldn't choose to do it himself, but by all means we should go and enjoy ourselves. Yeah. But yeah, the fight between Yoel Romero and Robert Whittaker was a banger. Could have gone either way. I might have given it to Whittaker, frankly. Yeah, I mean, don't be mistaken by my casual demeanor, like I'm on fire. How's that?
I gotta add more, I think, just to keep up.
That's how much I love you.
I love you too. I love you too, Steve-O. Cheers, my man. Cheers. All right, Steve-O, here we are at the conclusion of our Hot Ones sequel. We've talked about your roots as a fire-breathing clown and then taken it all the way through to inspirational comedian and all the trips to the emergency room that have connected those things. As someone who's experienced every type of physical pain you can possibly think of, what do you think of as the best analogy for the wings of death on the spectrum of body discomfort?
I think I might have to, because dude, I don't even have to ask you who you think is the king of hot ones. We know. It's Gordon Ramsay, right? I mean, that guy was an absolute maniac on this show. So I'm not willing to call it here, okay? I'm gonna take it one step further. I want everybody to know that this Steve-O's Hot Sauce for Your Butthole is available on Amazon as well as steve-o.com. And it is delicious.
Whoa! Ah! Ah!
Woo! Yeah, that last bit was really unnecessary, man.
Closing out season 14 the only way we know how, a love letter to the day one fans.
I got right in there. Woo!
With Steve-O chugging a bottle of hot sauce and going straight to the eyes. Now there's nothing left to do but roll out the red carpet for you, Steve-O. This camera, that camera, probably just the one you're looking at. Let the people know what you have going on in your life.
Okay. Yeah. I got my podcast called Steve-O's Wild Ride with Steve-O. Just put up the Mark Cuban episode. That was a pretty big deal. Got a lot of big stars on there. I've remained quite prolific with my YouTube channel, my main YouTube channel, that is. Nothing sucks on there. Check it out. Jackass 4 is scheduled for release in September. I'm also now a professional skateboarder. It's a dream that I've had for a really long time. Ow. I think that'll do it. Follow me on Instagram at Steve-O. A little bit. Fuck hurts. Thank you, guys.
Say hello to Apollo. The Last Dab Apollo. Here's my 30-second review for what it's worth. This is the hottest Last Dab sauce that we've ever made by a lot. I'm actually not even sure if that's a selling point, but it's just fair warning. The Last Dab Apollo, it has that deep, rich, complex flavor profile that Smokin' Ed is known for. Deep, heavy, diesel pepper, big, extreme heat. You don't have to if you don't want to, but if you want to, heatness.com, heatness.com, heatness.com to get your hands on the Last Dab Apollo. Around here, we call it the gold label.